Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Real Life Love. I'm excited to start this series of episodes, like I promised, taking you behind the scenes of a day in the life of what I really do with my coaching clients. Because if you've never worked with a love coach or maybe a coach of any sort, it may be a little bit mysterious to you what actually happens, what kinds of things we address, and what the results are as a result. So I'm going to take your hand and walk you back into that landscape. So today's topic is all about landing in your skin. And before I start talking about it, I want to invite you to do a little experiment with me. So for a moment, just notice your body. And for some of you, you might be going, what? But here's some ways that you can dial that in. Just see what kinds of sensations you're present to right now. Notice if there's much breath and the quality of your breath. Notice what it feels like to be present in your body right now. And hey Alice, and this is just a little bit of a gauge, because if you had to kind of reel yourself back in before you could find any sensations, or if your breath was very tight and constricted and not moving very much, that's information that you're probably, at least in this moment, more disconnected from your body than you are connected. Okay, so every experience that we have, every feeling, every intuition, every sensation, we experience it in our body. So it's really important that we're present in our skin in order to get a lot of really accurate information. There's a couple of things that will incline us to be out of our body. Two main ones that I'm thinking of. One is if the body hasn't felt like a safe place for you to be. So if you've experienced trauma, and again, trauma doesn't necessarily mean you were locked in a closet or beaten. It just means that some bigger stuff happened in your life that at the time that it happened, you didn't have the skills and resources to process it. So it's still living in there. So trauma creates something called disassociation, which just basically means doesn't feel safe to be in your body. So you kind of check out, you go up in your head, you disassociate from feelings and sensations. And that makes it really hard to be able to use your body as the incredible antenna and resource that it is. The other one is that culturally, we're really trained to live up in our head, to value ideas and thinking more than we value sensation and intuition and guidance. So as I'm talking about this right now, just kind of take a note, notice what's occurring in your body. You might see what it would be like to dip a toe a little deeper into your own skin, this wonderful spacesuit that we get to call home for however many years we're fortunate enough to live in it, by just taking a nice deep breath and seeing if you can find one or two sensations right now that are in the range of pleasure, right? So it might be that you've got, like I really like the texture of this t-shirt. It's really nice cotton. Might be that you're wearing something that you enjoy the feeling of. It might be a breeze blowing. It might be the feeling of some nice satiation in your tummy if you just ate a meal. Just one or two sensations that you're enjoying right now. And let yourself just kind of land there and notice what shifts or changes in your attention as you become more embodied right now. Here's why I wanted to talk about this, and this is where I'm going to kind of take you a little bit behind the scenes in terms of how this is relatable to real life. So I'm working with a client right now who has about 3 months into her dating journey, but she had a fairly long break, so she's feeling a little rusty and a little kind of nervous and trepidatious. And she shared with me that when she goes out on dates, she feels very nervous and anxious, and she gets up in her head and she like leans really in and forward. And as you can imagine, the dates aren't going all that great. She wasn't getting a whole lot of second dates, but more importantly, she wasn't enjoying herself. And I'm a big believer that dating at any stage of relationship ought to be fun. So a couple of things that I suggested and recommended to her is that she started experimenting with like leaning back. And you can do this with me right now. It's not this, you're not pushing yourself back, but it's as if you could fall into your back body, and that your back body was kind of right there to catch you. So you can just imagine that there's like a leaning in and leaning back. I notice that when I do that, I can feel my breath deepens. I think my voice goes a little bit lower. I feel more space in my heart and in my chest. I actually think I feel like I just slowed down a little bit. So those are all things that help us be more receptive and more open and also more present. So leaning back in, and that naturally will probably incline more breath. Breathing is a great way to land in our bodies. So the point of this is that because she was kind of more in her head and disassociated, she wasn't really able to track herself. So sometimes she'd go really fast, or sometimes she'd feel nervous and didn't know what to say. She also wasn't able to track him. So she wasn't able to get an energetic imprint of how he feels to her and what it feels like for her to be around him. That's really important information to know if we want to continue to spend time with somebody. I know when I'm spending time with a new person, I get so much information on an energetic level. I just feel whether I feel in resonance with them, whether my body feels more open, soft, relaxed, or more kind of guarded and constricted. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's about them, but it is really important information that I'm definitely going to listen to and take to heart when I'm making some decisions about, do I want to spend more time with this person? Being in our body is also really useful when it comes to having any kind of conversation where there's charge or intensity. Hey, you guys, nice to see you. So I know, when I start to have a conversation, especially in the beginning where you don't really know how somebody's going to be with it, it can be scary. It's like, oh my God, I don't know if this is going to be a bomb or, a rose petal. So being really grounded, and again, being able to lean in and kind of track myself so that if I start to get really adrenaline or I start talking really fast, probably not going to have the effect and the impact that I'm ultimately desiring, which is to be able to stay really present, to stay connected to my feelings and my thoughts, but also to have some bandwidth to hear what the other person is saying. So I'm not just like dropping the bomb and then running, right? That's a conversation, is an exchange, right? So here's 3 things I want to suggest to you. I suggest these to all my clients, and they all tell me that it makes such a big difference. Number 1, anytime you're feeling a little bit flighty, a little bit ungrounded, a little bit upset, just make contact. Put your feet on the floor and bring your attention to your feet on the floor. So you can push them into the floor a little bit. You can rub them against the floor a little bit, but really feel that sensation of your feet making contact with the floor. And just notice what happens. Okay, I'm not going to kind of tell you what should happen. I want you to just notice what happens. Second one, if you're feeling stressed out, same parameters. If you're not feeling really grounded, oftentimes we get kind of stuck in this looping of attention. So you might be stuck on a circular thought, or you might be ruminating on a problem. It's a very singular kind of focus. If you could bring your attention more broad and more global, the best way to do that is to let your eyes just look around the room, look around at what you're seeing, take in that information, and then notice the effect that has on your body. Chances are that's going to be very settling. Third one, breathing. We use so little of our lung capacity, and the breath has a huge impact on our physiology. It affects the ratio of oxygen to, what's the other one? I think it's carbon dioxide or monoxide. I'm not a scientist, but I know it's one of those. And what you want is oxygen to be flowing and moving, because that moves a lot of energy. It expands the lungs. It feels good. So sometimes I'll suggest that my clients maybe set an alarm a couple times during the day, or at certain times during the day. Just take 3 or 4 minutes. Nice expanded inhale and exhale. Now here's the thing. This is the other reason why we sometimes won't stay in our body. Sometimes there might be more feelings that you're present to. Sometimes there might be something that you've been kind of keeping at bay. Maybe you're feeling sad or frustrated or angry. That might come present. You might actually have some tears or have something surprise you. That's okay, because when you're present in your body, you have the resources and the capacity to let it process. So just stay present. It's not going to last forever. It'll keep on rolling. I promise. It's a wave. Okay, so try these on. I'd love to hear how it goes. I'd love to hear what you notice. I'd love to hear if there's anything that isn't clear or you want some refinement. But I'm really excited to share this with you because it really does make a big difference. So thanks for joining me today, and post your comments, questions, discoveries in the comments below. And I wish you a love-filled rest of your day. Bye.